Hi guys, it's Ayshxo here. Welcome back to my channel, Sticky Stitch. I wasn't going to do this video because I knew that Mrs. Milky Bar Kid was going to do a video on HAED projects or Heaven and Earth Design projects and how you should approach them. And I thought, well, she's actually absolutely thorough. She will mention the things that I want to mention. And so I won't bother, and I didn't want people to think that, you know, whatever. So when I heard that she was filming one, I didn't bother. I watched her video. She mentioned a whole bunch of stuff that I would have done. She mentioned also a lot of stuff that I would never have mentioned because I wouldn't have even thought about it. So if you haven't watched her video on how to approach a Heaven and Earth Design project, you should definitely watch it. My one is actually going to be a bit different. I might touch on a couple of things. I might say exactly the same thing she does just because that's how it's flowing out of my head. But otherwise, I will be talking about basically tackling any project, whether it's big or small, how you should do it. I will also talk and hopefully show you what I do on Excel, and I might actually try to give you a mini tutorial so you guys can do it on Excel too. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, so I thought I want to talk about how I tackle projects, especially big projects, and obviously the smaller projects you can use this for smaller projects because that's easy to do. Now, when I'm talking about large projects, I'm basically talking about Heaven and Earth Designs, and when I talk about large, I'm usually talking about the number of threads, because the Heaven and Earth Designs use anywhere between 50 for some smaller project quick stitchy type ones to 90. I think the highest I've got is 95. Now you're not going to see any finished HAED projects with me because I haven't finished any. I'm a serial starter and not a finisher. So what I'll do is I'm going to talk about the HAED projects, and then I'll show you how you can tackle large or any projects using Excel and some other bits of software that you'll be able to get your hands on. So when I'm choosing a design from Heaven and Earth Designs, I will look at the stitch count. I then convert that. I need to on the stitching fabric that I enjoy using. I have watched Amanda's video, and you'll know that she says test it for yourself and see if it works for you. I have tried cross stitch. I recently tried cross stitch over, so 2 over 1 on 25 count Dublin. Despised it. It's too small. I have shocking eyesight. I use magnifying lens, so don't even try. If you've got astigmatism like me, you've got terrible eyesight, don't even bother. It just becomes too hard. So I've also done 2 over 1 half cross stitch on 25 count Lugana. I don't mind it. It's still hard, but I like the look of it, so I continue on with that. And with the fabrics also, I am now looking at, I don't grid, and I really should, so I'm going to try to get some of that magic fabric and see if I enjoy doing that, because I don't like the act of gridding as well. But anyway, I choose, so when I say I check the size, I check the stitches, and then there's a number of different sites that you can do that, and I will attach them. But I check that purely because I want to see how big the project is, because I don't want, one, I don't want to stitch 500,000 stitches. 2, I don't want to frame something that's 500,000 stitches. It's not going to happen. I don't have that much money. It's probably going to cost me $500 to stitch it, or so, to frame it. So that's not going to happen. So size is important. And because I only show it in inches, I need to do it in centimeters, so it all makes sense in my head. So I do that. And I also check if there's a quick stitch or a mini in the same picture, just to see, you know, then I think, well, I actually like that part of the picture, so I might do the quick stitch. Or I don't mind how it looks as a mini stitched up, so I'll do that one instead. And as a result, I don't think I've bought any full size big ass ones, if you know what I mean. So firstly, I check the size of the finished project, is what I'm saying, because I know that I can't work on anything. I prefer not to work on anything bigger than 18 count. Ada, I cannot use 36 count to over 2. It's just, no, I can't do it. So I know how big a project's going to be, and I don't want to have a massive project because I wouldn't know what to do with it, basically. So that's one. Next, the projects on the Heaven and Earth Design website have a floss chart, so you can actually see what floss you need. It'll also tell you how many stitches you will do in that colour. So even though you have to buy 95, just say you've got none, and even though you have to buy 95 skeins, some of those you only need to do 3 stitches or 5 stitches or 2 stitches. So you don't have to buy all of your threads at once, and those ones you might say, well, I don't have the money for them, so I'm going to buy the bigger ones. So anything under 50 stitches I'm not going to buy, so until later. So I'll buy all the big ones, and then I'll buy the other ones if I have money or if I don't have money. So check the number of stitches for each individual colour as well. And basically I don't buy all the colours, so if it over needs 3 or 4 stitches, 10 stitches, 18 stitches, 100 stitches, I actually poach from another project, take a couple of skeins, make a cardboard project cards, put them on there, and that's where they sit. And yeah, so there's no use buying a new skein for a small amount of stitches. As Amanda said, and I absolutely agree with her, DMC has dye lots. I have the same colour DMC, and they are actually different shades. If you have to buy a large amount of floss, be it a brown, a grey or a green, because they tend to be the colours that you use most, if you need 6 skeins of it, buy them all at once is what I'm saying. Gridding, I would recommend gridding. I don't grid, I recommend grid. And if you are working on something as above an 18 count on a Heaven and Earth Design project, you basically have to cut your threads. You're not going to be able to unpick that one colour. It's not going to happen. It is so thick and so matted and so carpety at the back. Another thing with HAED projects, before if you've never done one, or that style of project where it's stitch dense, the back of your work is not going to look like the front of your work. It's not going to happen. Get over it, move on. I have seen the backs of some projects, and they look fantastic. They look neat, but you know, these are the people who do have whose back of their work is as good as their front on a normal project, as opposed to something that is stitch dense as a Heaven and Earth Design. And that's fabulous, and I absolutely admire them, and I wish the back of my work does, but if I can carry a thread over, I will. Consequently, on something like a 25 count, it's really difficult to put that needle through when you're trying to do little bits of confetti in an area that you've already stitched. It's so difficult, like you're forcing it, and I find that sometimes I change my rhythm, or I change where the needle comes up from, purely because the hole that I normally would bring it up from, I just can't bring it up, or you know. So anyway, that's all I'm saying. Again, just for the people with bad eyesight, I cannot do a project that's 25 count 2/1 on frame. I can only do it on a little hoop, so I can hold it really close so I can actually see it. So again, if you've got crappy eyesight like me and you want to do a project and you really want to do it on a fine count, I just find that I can't get close enough on a frame. And if you've never stitched a large project, like the HAED projects, they do have a number of freebies. Check to see if you like any of the designs. I say check to see if you like any of those designs, because if you don't like them, you're not going to enjoy stitching them. Also, they do have some beginners projects where they use less colours. So see if you like those designs first before you commit to a larger project where you pay for the pattern. Well, the beginners ones you pay for the pattern anyway. But anyway, so I would suggest you look there. There are some cute designs. I know I've downloaded some, but I haven't done any. The foxglove ball, I need to start kitting that up, because I really want to do it, even though I haven't really finished one, but I just want to kit that one up too. So check that. It's extremely important that you, with this type of project where it's stitch dense and it can take you months, or years to finish, that you choose a project that you're enjoying. And that is an absolute repeat from Mrs. Milky Bar Kid. I absolutely agree with her. If you're not going to enjoy it, don't start stitching it, because you are going to despise this project as you stitch. You are really going to despise it, because you're just going to go, oh my god, when is this thing going to finish? So it would be good if the picture that you start with is a picture that you enjoy. These are large projects, and if you're not putting it on frame and you're stitching in hand or on a Q-snap or anything like that, be careful with how you edge the fabric, because this fabric's going to be around for a long time unless you're doing a small project. So think twice about putting masking tape on the edges, because that is going to gather dust over the years. Maybe serge it or use a phrase stopper, something like that. I don't have a problem using a hoop. I've never had a hoop give me problems about, what's the word that I'm looking, leave marks on a project. But every time I finish stitching, I stop, I take it out of the hoop. The other thing is I use a 5-inch hoop. I've got a big one too, but I prefer a 5-inch hoop because it makes you take and I use a springform hoop as well. So that does two things. One, it makes you move the hoop often, so you're not holding a fabric at the hoop in a particular spot for a long time. And the other thing is, because you can basically clip a project into a springform quite quickly, you can, it's not, even if you walked away to sit down and have a cigarette, have a coffee, have lunch, have dinner, go buy milk, whatever, it's easy enough to clip it off and then put it back in again when you come back and you're ready to stitch, because sometimes we can leave a project longer than we expected. So they're the only things that I would recommend when you're stitching in hand or with a big project. Roll the fabric onto itself, so you're always using holding the outside of your project rather than touching the actual part of the project that you're stitching on as well. So that's with any project anyway, but like I said, this is going to be higgledy-piggledy, but it's about, I mean, how you tackle a large project is going to be helpful with your smaller projects anyway. So I am going to show you what I do on Excel. What I do on Excel is actually different to most people. I don't create tables as such. Like, I don't say I've got X, Y, Z for my DMC. I probably should, but I don't. But so I'm going to show you what I do, and so that you can quickly find out whether you have a thread or not, because you don't want to sit there and look up individually 90 different colours and go, yep, I've got it, have I 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 got it, yep, no, yep. You don't want to do that. So I am not an Excel teacher, but I will endeavour to show you how to do it. But if anything, I'll tell you what it's called, so then maybe you can look at different tutorials online, or I'm sure there's plenty on YouTube, and also just the written word as well on the interweb that you can look up. So I'll tell you what I do, and then, like, for instance, this is how I do a pivot table, this is how I do a VLOOKUP. So I will show you the bare minimum so you can do what I do, but otherwise, if you want more stuff, you need to ask somebody else, because I'm not that much of an expert in those. The other thing is, I do buy my charts as PDF where I can. That way I have a choice of doing it, printing it out and doing it that way, or using something like the GoodReader app. So I'm going to show you how to do the GoodReader app as well, and how I use that. But that's about it basically. I am not an expert at Heaven Earth Designs, but I'm an expert in organising and kitting up for Heaven Earth Designs. So I will show you how I record. So you probably won't see my face again, but that might be a good thing. Okay guys, now here is my computer screen. So as you can see, I've just got, all I do is I open up Excel and I have a spreadsheet, and this is purely for my DMC colours, and I just put DMC at the top just so that I just for the sake of it, so it's not a series of numbers. And I don't know if you can see, but here and here I've got the same number. That's actually not an error, and as you can see here, 152 and 152 and 152, that actually means that I have 3. So I don't count. Basically what I do is every time I buy a floss, I just go down to the next cell down at the bottom, which we'll just show here. I have no idea what that red means, so just ignore that. So I just go down to the bottom here and I will type the next color that I want. Now I know that I got this today, so I can type that in, and that's all I do. I don't sit there saying and counting them all. Maybe every 6 months I will do a stock take, because also as I use them up, I also delete them as well. So all I have to do is go in there and delete one of the numbers that I've just finished, rather than changing a number from 3 to 2. And did I get distracted? Did I actually change the number? What was the number before this? All that sort of stuff. I know I can hit undo, but anyway, this is the way I like to work. Now from this, all I do is do a bit of geek work on Excel, and I'm going to show you the most simplest thing to do. What you can do from here, I don't want to count all these, so all I do is highlight that column and then I say insert pivot table. And then I ignore all of this because I've already highlighted what I want, and I just say okay. You'll learn that I actually do a lot of I ignore. Now I'm hoping that you can see this. And let's see, I need to reduce this box a bit more just so you can see the bottom of the box, which is down here. Okay, so from here, all I do is, I've only got one bit of information, which is DMC, and I just drag that to the rows, and that'll just list all the numbers and won't give me a repeat. And I just drag that again to the values. What that will do is say, of all the 102s, how many are there? And usually it'll be counts. And as you can see here, if I enlarge that, it has now said that I've got 202s, 354s, and so on. So I don't have to count them. And if I wanted to delete them, I delete them off the other page. Now, what I do is actually delete this once I'm done with it, because it actually creates a new sheet when you do a pivot table, and you're done. So I get all my the Heaven and Earth designs as PDFs. Even their large chart isn't large enough for my eyesight, and I'll get into the app that I use to read these off. But what I do is I will highlight that. I'll open up Adobe. It doesn't work with the Windows 8 reader for some reason, but I'll open up Adobe, highlight the whole page, paste it into an Excel sheet here, and it'll look, and then I've just cleaned it up. So the numbers appear there, and it just tells me what stitches are there. Ignore the gaps because I've actually merged a few projects because I want to see how many stitches I was doing for various projects so I can work out what my shopping would be. But anyway, so let's just pretend that there aren't any gaps here and they're all just full numbers like this, just so you don't get confused. So from there, so this is saying that for 159, DMC 159, I will be doing 894 stitches. That's not so much important, but that's how I paste it in. And now what I'm going to do is show you a quick way to work out whether you have that color or not, because you don't want to go through 90, 80, 75 DMC colors and do I have it, do I have it, do I have it. So all I do, this is a new one, this is called a VLOOKUP. I do it a certain way. I don't know how to do it the other way. It doesn't make sense to me. I can't teach you a VLOOKUP, but I can teach you how to do this to look up whether you've got the DMC. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here, and I am going to type in my formula, and you need to copy basically the same thing I'm doing and it'll be fine. So you do an equal so it knows it's its formula. You type in the word VLOOKUP, open your bracket, what you do is you highlight. This is the column. So basically what you're saying is this is a column that I have, comma, and then you go to the other worksheet. This, and then you say this is the other column I have. This, look at these two columns. Look at column A and column B. Where you see an exact match in column A, bring back column 2. So all it is all you have, so at the moment you haven't typed in anything. You've highlighted column A, the whole of column A in your first worksheet. I've put a comma. I've highlighted both A and B in this worksheet, put a comma, and then I say bring back column 2, which is my B column, because that's where it shows the amounts. Okay, it shows how many skeins I have of each one. You can do it that you just want to get column A, whatever, and you would just put number 1 down. But I'm going to say number 2 because I want the second column, which is column B. Put another comma. You'll get an option true or false. Always choose false, which means that you want an exact match. You don't want something that's close to 152. You want the exact number. So in one worksheet, if I've got 152 there, look on this worksheet, tell me if 152 is there, and if 152 is there, bring me back how many skeins I have of it. So I hit false, double click, shift, close brackets, enter, and see how it says NA. I'll highlight that. See how it says NA? It means I don't have it. And then all I'm going to do is double click. You can drag the formula down, but I'm just going to double click it. Just makes life easier. Again, I use Excel every day. So what this has done, just need to filter out all these blanks. Okay, that's better. So this is my Bibliodame project, and these are all the DMC numbers that I need here, and these are all the stitches. This is just the way I do it because I'm just intrigued about how many stitches of each one and whether I need it quick soon or I can wait for them. So this is my results column where we put that formula in. Now that's a formula there, and it's going to be confusing, and don't worry about it. So if you follow what I said was highlight the column that you want the project. If you highlight the project DMCs, put a comma, go and highlight your stock DMC and then the number it has. So you're highlighting both, say, A column and B column, put another comma. If you want so your B column is where the quantities are, type in the number 2, comma, down space, choose exact, false, and then close brackets. The formula is done. Because basically this formula here this is the spreadsheet, so this is going to be all confusing, but this is saying this part here, column A. So look at all of column A, then go to that spreadsheet, that sheet on that spreadsheet, look at those two columns, bring back column 2, and false means that you want an exact match, and that's how it is. Okay, from this you can see that I don't have these 3 colors here. I actually do, but I've actually just done a stock take of all my skeins because I realised 1 or 2 of the shipments I forgot to record, so I've got to update this spreadsheet now. So I've counted all those. So I do occasionally count them just to make sure I've got them. So this is saying that yes, all of these ones I have, but then I can just quickly go put on the look at the filter and say, well, just show me the ones that I have to buy. And they're the ones that say NA. So these are only the ones that I need to buy. You can make a decision about how many you need to buy. That's the reason why I bring the stitches across. If there's a lot of stitches, like this is almost 6,000 stitches, it's black. I know that I basically buy black for projects, so I know that I'm going to have to buy 2 or 3 skeins of that one. If it's around the 2,000 mark, even though I've got skeins, I will purchase another one And these ones here with low numbers, I actually might just poach off a bobbin that's already been in another project, is currently in another project, and just put some on a project card just to do it. But that, I know it took a while. It sounds complicated, but seriously, this takes me about 30 seconds to do each time. So definitely with Heaven and Earth Designs, you can get a floss chart, and I'll tell you what flosses that you need and how many stitches you will do before you purchase them. So there, I've ended the lesson for Excel. Okay guys, and now I thought I'd just talk to you about, as I mentioned previously, where I can get a hold of a pattern through PDF. I do. One, because it's cheaper. Secondly, because I can save it in multiple locations so I'd never ever lose it. And thirdly is because I can actually blow the chart up any size I want and not have to worry about hundreds of pieces of paper, which basically would happen if I was to print out a Heaven and Earth design, because even their large chart format is not big enough for me. Okay, so we'll just go into it. You'll get some folders. What you have and what you don't have will just depend on when you've used it. We'll just go into my little original patterns. I will go into a pattern that I haven't created one for. Which one can I do? Okay, so I've opened it up, and immediately I can edit stuff that I want to edit, but I want to let's just say I want to highlight it. Okay, so I've indicated to the app that I want to make some changes to it. So it's telling me, do I want to create an annotated file? So what that will do is keep my original one and create essentially my working copy. I say yes. So create an annotated one, and it just saves it with the same name, but it has the word edited on there, or annotated on there. Now I'm just going to exit this one and go back to settings, because I want to show you some other stuff as well. Okay, I've just picked this up just so that you can see this better. What you need to do is go down to your settings before you actually start doing some work, and then go into general settings. And there's one where it says about pass lock. Disable auto lock. So you need to turn that on. And all that does, it means that as you're working on it, it's not going to, but your iPad isn't going to go to sleep. So it's forever going to be on. So yes, it sucks the battery, but you know what you're doing. It's a cross-stitch session, so it's not a big deal. So I am going to open up another project that I'm doing. You haven't got the key. You don't know what this all means. You don't even know what the project is. The other thing I do is I lock the screen. There's a lock thing here because I always work in horizontal. And basically, if you can see, this is how big I work. So you guys can see it on your screen. I can see it without glasses on my screen, but that's if I can always work in this screen. So this is, God, it's probably 5 point, if it would be 5 count fabric or something, I don't know, maybe, you know, who knows? Actually, yeah, it's probably 5 count fabric. That's how big I have to do it for my eyes to feel comfortable. So I'm just trying to work out how best to show this to you. Okay, so ignore the red because the red don't mean anything, and you'll understand in a moment. So as I'm doing a project, I just hit my fingers, say I want to do the highlight, and I choose the colors here. Pink for me means I park it, so P for park, P for pink, P for park, P for purple, and any other color is just an ignore color. It just basically means I've stitched it. Where I need to do this in a spot. If I try to highlight over the pink, because it's no longer parked, and I highlight it, it turns to the red because it's putting the yellow over the red. That's why it turned red. So red doesn't actually mean anything to me. And as I highlight, I actually tend to use a pen. Again, I'm stitching all the time. I just want to do something different with my fingers, which is exercise my fingers. So I will actually use them. Sometimes I'll use my finger, sometimes I'll use a stylus to highlight, and I highlight usually as I've finished a colour in a box, or you know, whatever I feel like, and I just do this. What I do find is if you do this, it becomes very messy, so you can't do that. And I haven't found any program or any PDF that works for. I'm just going to hit cancel. The other thing is I do have another, let's see, I'll close this project and find another one, the other one. I have found that, you know, these sorts of files where you can create your own PDF, the highlighting doesn't work as well. See how it just highlights half of it, and for the life of me I can't make that a full one. It's really bizarre. I find it irritating, and for this project I've actually gone back to doing it on paper. But yeah, so what's good is that you can increase this how big you want. Now obviously this is going to be good for knitters and that sort of stuff too. So I like that. The one thing that I do is that I will print out a paper copy of the key, and otherwise you'll be, with the Heaven Knows designs, you'll be flipping too many pages, so you don't want to do that all the time. So I do print out the key. So their keys go for, well, this project's got $9.90 something, but all I've done is I've cut the 3 pages down so that the key all fits on one page, and that's where I've got it. I don't want to be flipping around looking for this key every time I want to change a colour in of threads. I'm always intrigued about how many different colours are in the first box that I'm going to do, and I think with one of them I counted 25 colour changes in a 10 by 10 box. So yeah, you don't want to keep on flipping, especially if you have to flip from the 50th page down to the 2nd page or something like that. So I do recommend that if you're going to do PDF patterns, that you print out a copy of the key and maybe a picture of it as well, and so it's always there for you. So that's it. I'm not really a good tutor when it comes to GoodReader, but I do love it. It took me a while to get used to it. It took me a while to realise that I couldn't do this, and that's a natural inclination that you just want to say, well, I only coloured this area here, so I'm just going to use that my finger. So it just drags it all the way down, and I haven't found a way not to do that. So if anybody knows, let me know. But it was, I think it was $5, and it was $5 well spent. Yeah, so that's it. If you've got any questions, I can answer them about as best as I can, but I do really like this app, and you just got to make sure you've got a power source if you're going to have a particularly long session, because obviously, you know, if you're sitting for 2 or 3 hours and this is on, you're going to suck the juice out of it. So that's basically how I do the GoodReader app. Oh, one thing that I did forget to mention is that you can actually delete as well. So if you hold your finger there, actually not hold it, but just tap it, it says delete is one of the options, and it asks you, do you really want to delete? And you say yes, and then you can do the same here, delete, really delete. But you've got to be careful because you have to know where it's deleting, because it will, even though you've tapped one box, sometimes it does the whole one. So just be careful when you're deleting highlighted areas as well. Now let's find a nice picture for you guys to stare at while I'm talking. There you go. This is, even though I don't like Hannah Lynn, I actually love this picture because I just adore, for those of you who don't know, I do have another channel that's makeup related, and I just adore her makeup, her smoky eye, her lips, everything. I just love everything about her face, and I love the 80s gloves there too, so that's why I've got that one. Anyway, that's pretty much all. I can't think of anything else. Like I said, this was more about how I prepare, not actually do a Heaven and Earth design project, but more about how I prepare for a large project. I I use Excel. Like I said, I use Excel every day for my job. So I'm a data analyst. I do that as part of my job. So I find Excel really easy to use, easy to update. But that's about it. Like I said, I find it very quick to do a VLOOKUP, and then that pivot table is really easy. It can be confusing. You might not want to do it, but if you can get a hang of that, it's so quick for you to work out whether you have that color or not. I don't buy DMC colors other than when I need them. As a result, I almost have the whole collection, but I don't have all of them. So, and obviously I finish them, and if the project requires that I use 3 or 4 skeins, I've only got 1 skein. You know, I want to know all that before I purchase it. I don't just want to know that I've got a color. I want to know how many of that color I do have, so I know how many I need to buy, and also whether it's in a current project or not. Actually, let me just flip this camera around. So I hope you enjoyed that. I mean, that's how I prepare for my large projects. If I've bought a whole bunch of patterns, I will put, not always the stitches because you don't get in the PDF like the Heaven and Earth design, but I'll just put the color of the skein down in columns, and then I'll do a VLOOKUP to see if I've got it, and that way if there's 3 or 4 that I want to kit up at once, I can do them all at once, and then it ends up being that I need 30 skeins. Right, done. I can just do it in one hit, and I can just start kitting them up and that sort of stuff. So that's it, guys. I hope that was helpful. If you haven't watched Amanda's video, I suggest you do. It's bloody magnificent, can I say? I always love her videos. I'm assuming my video is long too. I hope I was able to retain your interest. Do try doing pivot tables and VLOOKUPs and see how you go, and let me know. Remember, just put I don't know, just open up an Excel spreadsheet. You don't have to have 2 spreadsheets. It's just, you can do it from one worksheet to another worksheet. So your one worksheet had the pivot table in there. You just create another sheet where you copied and pasted all the colors that you need for the project, and you can do the VLOOKUP there. So you don't have to use 2 different workbooks. You can have one workbook and use multiple sheets as well. But like I said, I use Excel every day. I'm comfortable shuffling between things. I just can't teach it because I haven't learned how to teach Excel, because I don't do it the way other people do Excel. I don't write formulas for Excel. I say, like I showed you, I've got this column in this worksheet and I've got the same column in the other worksheet, but what I need is, if that column is there, I want to know how old they are, or, you know, obviously with this case, if I've got that color there, tell me how many skeins of that color that I have. And I do it that way. I don't have that formula code writing logic. But that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care, and I hope to see you soon. Happy stitching. Ciao.